this evening. We apologize for the delay. We had an extended closed session. Appreciate your indulgence. Little housekeeping. I'd first like to ask if anyone has their cell phones, please to silence them and refrain from creating any disruptive sounds. I'd like to ask Chief Muncy with our fire department to come forward. If we could all rise, he will lead us in the invocation.
You bow your head, pray with me. God, thank you for bringing such a great community together as we watch our electeds make strong decisions for us. God, please give them discernment, do what's best for the public and for the city. God,
Please bless our new city manager and give her discernment as she leads us through really hard times and into a better future. And God, finally, thank you for our great police department. Please watch over their members as they're on the street and fighting for us and keeping this neighborhood safe. And of course, for our firefighters, please watch over them and keep my guys safe. In your mighty name, amen.
Amen. I'd like to now invite Corelli Garcia to come forward. She will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing.
May everyone please join me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Corelli, and thank you, Chief Muncy. I'd like to ask the city attorney to report out from closed session.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Under existing litigation in the case of Coffer versus the city, council gave settlement directive by vote of 6-0 with Councilman Barrios absent. In the matter of Duclos versus the city, council gave settlement direction 7-0. In the case of Keel versus city, council gave settlement by a vote of 7-0. With respect to the item under A, continuing with existing litigation in the AMF 1278 versus the city, and item Cush Concepts versus the city, and the item Yee versus city, and the item Carmel Row versus city. In all of those matters, council approved an increase in attorney fee cap from $50,000 to $75,000 and gave a settlement directive all by vote of 6-0 with Valdivia recused. With respect to the, hold on. In the listed under item B1 under anticipated litigation significant exposure, on the one item, council gave directive to address significant exposure in to litigation by a vote of 7-0. Hold on a moment. I lost my place here. Okay, that is all the reporting out. That's all the action that council took. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to request that the Mayor Pro Tem, Fred Charette, add a presentation. It came to us after posting the agenda to recognize special citizen of San Bernardino. And if there's no objection, I'd like to have the first presentation be given by Councilman Charette. Is there any problems with that? All right, thank you. Councilman Charette?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite Robert Lincoln.
Council member, if you'll turn the mic on. Thank you.
Logsdon up here to join me, please.
What you got there? I'm all right.
Um,
I've been waiting for a long.
Bob has been waiting a long time, and that's why I'm recognizing him tonight. I'm recognizing him as of September 1st. He turned 100 years old. With that long closed session, I was afraid he might turn 101 before we got out here. And I think I'm cutting into his evening hours. But anyway, I did want to recognize him. I was at his birthday party. He is a longtime member and the world's oldest photographer for the Rotary Club within the world. He's been a photographer for the Rotary Club here locally for 51 years and perfect attendance with Rotary for 51 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And we recognized him on Saturday at Arrowhead Country Club, and he's got a number of pins, and I'm going to pin one more on you from the city of San Bernardino. But I wanted to recognize Bob as a true, a great citizen to our community, and I'd like to read this short certificate that I have, and it's from the city of San Bernardino, Certificate of Recognition, from the Mayor and Common Council, or City Council, honoring Robert Lincoln Longston, Jr., oldest active Rotarian photographer in the world. Military service includes World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War. He was in the U.S. Navy from 1945 to 1977. And on his 100th birthday, it is truly an honor to present you with this certificate of recognition on this grand and momentous occasion celebrating your 100th birthday. The city of San Bernardino congratulates and joins you in celebration of a century of sharing your wisdom, love, and blessings with your family, friends, and community. You have witnessed and been a part of an entire century of rapid growth, expansion, and a history of constant changes. Your outstanding deeds, leadership skills, commitment, and unselfish accomplishments are genuinely appreciated and have not gone unnoticed. We wish you a happy 100th anniversary. This was presented to Bob. I presented it and then took it back so I could give it to you tonight. It was presented on September 2nd, and we're presenting it again to you tonight on September 6th. And I have a pen for you, a city seal pen, to go with all your other Rotary pins. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the protocol? Does it go above or below them?
Any place you can put on is thing
All
for my
right.
wife.
I'd also like to say that I did serve for 3 years in the Downtown Rotary Club with Bob back in the 80s. And Bob has just been a fine Rotarian, and we're happy. I'd like to invite Donis up as well, his wife, of I don't know how many years, but a number.
Oh, how many, honey?
Almost 8. He's a very brave man. He took me on when he was 90.
Bob, would you like to say a word?
Oh,
Not even a word?
yes. This is just the way I wrote it, and I appreciate it very much. But you read it without editing it. No, this is not. It's the right honor for me, but I'd like to share it with all the people who have been serving and the people who support the military all the way around, and people out there who've done a lot more than I have, and so I accept this with sorrow and yet with joy for all the people who are in our armed forces today.
Thank you, Bob, and happy birthday to you. Thank you very much. Here, let me get a picture with you right here.
Wait a minute, you get over here too.
Right here. There you go.
Fine. Okay. 8 by 10s.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Donis.
I'm sorry we have to leave right now, but thank you for the praise.
It's time for him to go to bed.
Thank you.
It's a long cocktail hour.
I know. I won't repeat
Oh,
that.
no, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Schreck. Ed, if you join me. This evening, we have a presentation to recognize our library, and the City Council and the Mayor have a proclamation that we would like to present to Ed Urjevic, our librarian for the City of San Bernardino. It's a proclamation of the Mayor and City Council, Library Card Sign-Up Month and Read an E-Book Day. Whereas this September marks the 30th anniversary of Library Card Sign-Up Month, a time when the American Library Association joins public libraries nationwide to highlight the value of a library card. And whereas Library Card Sign-Up Month has been held each September to mark the beginning of the school year since 1987, and libraries work to remind parents and youth that signing up for a library card is the first step towards academic achievement and lifelong learning. Whereas almost 31,000 patrons have library cards in the City of San Bernardino's public library system that consists of the Norman Feldheim Central Library, the Dorothy Ingram, the Howard Rowe, and the Paul Villaseñor branch libraries. And whereas library card holders can also take advantage of electronic resources that libraries make available to their library card holders that aren't freely available on the Internet. And whereas among these resources are the Overdrive ebook and Autobook collection, BrainFuse Live Homework, help chat assistance for learners of all ages in various subjects via a live tutor who is a subject expert from 1 to 10 p.m. daily. The RB Digital Magazines offering popular magazines in digital format, especially for handheld devices, a business directory for job seekers and other information. And whereas September 18th also marks Read an eBook, and the benefits offered with a library card are free, only requiring a picture identification and current address. Now, therefore, the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino do hereby proclaim the month of September 2017 as Library Card Sign-Up Month, and September 18th as Read an eBook Day. With that, we encourage our citizens to try an e-book from San Bernardino Public Library and utilize the free benefits offered at the library, presented this 6th day of September 2017. Thank you, Ed, for all the good work that you do.
Well, thank you very much to the mayor and council and our city manager for your support of library services throughout some very tough years. Also, a good item I want to pass along is, as you might recall from a few months ago, I did a presentation on our summer reading program upcoming that took place in June and July, which this year we actually increased our participants by approximately 400, as we went from 1,400 participants to nearly 1,800 participants. So we were pleased to see that increase, as there was an increase at each of the 4 libraries. So we were glad to see that, and I wanted to pass that along. And as stated, library service is different than what many people recall as traditional services, where you only come in to the physical library for a service. Now, like I said, you can take advantage of the Overdrive ebooks and audiobooks remotely. And we also have that R&B digital magazines, as popular magazines like The Economist and other major popular magazines that are in electronic format that you can read on your tablet or devices. And also the BrainFuse program also has had very good usership in the last couple of years as people take advantage of the chat with a subject expert throughout the day. So those are all resources that they benefit. And also we were glad to mention the ebooks as well. The Overdrive collection is paid for by the Library Foundation as they sponsor it, both the overall cost for the subscription and then a monthly stipend for titles. And in September, we tied our all-time high for usage since we've had the product since 2011. So we were glad to see those numbers do well. So thank you again for the proclamation here tonight and your support of always with library service with the challenges of limited funding. But I appreciate greatly your support. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. appreciate your commitment and dedication to our city. Next, we will invite the chamber to come forward with announcements. Is there anyone from the chamber here? Well, looks like we will miss that.
We outweighted him.
Any elected official representatives? All right, if not, we will now invite public speaking on the consent calendar. Number one is Carmel Rowe.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So I just wanted to let you guys know that my name is Carmel Rowe. I'm a 40-year resident of the city of San Bernardino. I've lived here my entire life. I raised my children here. I'm a single mother. And I reviewed the agenda today, and, you know, it's all right. But when I looked at item number 13 about hiring, you know, Russ Consulting, okay, we paid him $250,000 for 5 years of, you know, sending out notices. So now we want to hire him for another 2 years for $100,000 to send out notices. And, you know, I get notices from Russ Consulting from the city. Postage isn't that much, $175 an hour. And if we're hiring him for another 2 years, are we saying that we're going to cry bankruptcy for another 2, and we're going to use that as an excuse as another 2? You know, quite honestly, in 2013, 2012, you know, when everybody got elected, I thought, you know, big change was coming. We got new faces, we got new things. But I don't see that big changes come. And I see that we're still blaming it on the bankruptcy. So, you know, I didn't even want to come down here today. I didn't really have anything to come down here for today. But when I saw that, my heart kind of just drove a stake in it and said, are we going to use bankruptcy for the next 2 years as an excuse? Are we just going to pretend because we're going into an election year that it's getting better, and as soon as we all get elected again or not elected again, are we going to use that as an excuse? So I wanted everybody to look at that and look at, you know, why would we be spending $100,000 on a company to send out notices? And, you know, the backup material was the first time you guys did it, and I didn't see that it was really laid out exactly what they're going to do or what kind of notices, just that they're going to get $100,000 to send out notices for the next 2 years. So that's what I wanted to say on that item today. Thanks.
Thank you. Robert Porter.
I believe that was number 7, right?
Yes, you wrote down number 7.
Okay. Robert Porter, San Bernardino, born and raised my whole life. I love it with all my heart. I love to see that we're looking for grants for public safety. Incredible. Thank you. Keep going. We need 30, 40 more of them. That's how we're going to get our money, right? We don't have any. Grants. Focus. Now, if we can, I know there's a state law that prevents us from requiring police officers to live in our city. But if the officers are enticed with a proper reward, it won't matter. They'll come. Offer their kids free schooling. Let's work with Cal State. Maybe we can create a scholarship program. Local police officers come live in an area. They stay there. Their kids get to go to free college. I don't care what the idea is. Offer them gold bars. Get grants for it. But get our police officers invested in our community right here, not leaving the city like our city manager has to do. Right here. If they're living here, they're invested. They'll care. Finkel cared. Finkel, I grew up with him my whole life. If there was ever an issue, he was there. If there was an event in the local area, he was there. If there was a ho-ho parade, he was there. If you needed to be Santa Claus, he was there because he was invested in the community. Now, I know there's a lot of law officers that love San Bernardino with all their heart, but they can't live here. Let's find the ones that can. And I guarantee it will make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other speaker slips? Nope. Thank you. All right. We'll ask the council if they have any items they'd like to pull. We'll start with Councilmember Marquez.
Yes, Mayor. Question on number 10.
Thank you. Councilmember Barrios?
None at this time, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Valdivia? Thank you. Councilmember Charette?
No, sir.
Councilmember Nichol?
7, 8, and 12.
Councilmember Richard?
None tonight, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Mulvihill?
None, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Move the balance.
Thank you. We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Please cast your votes. Councilmember, or, excuse me, City Attorney?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pull off tonight's agenda, staff report item number 15. That'll be brought back at another time. We need to make some changes in the language.
All right, thank you. All right. You have a result?
On the consent calendar, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Charette and the second by Mr. Mulvihill, and it passed unanimously.
Thank you. Item number 7, pulled by Councilmember Nichol, is ratification of Department of Justice COPS hiring grant. Adopt a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino ratifying the submittal of a law enforcement hiring grant from Department of Justice Community-Oriented Policing Services and authorizing the Police Department to accept and administer the grant. Councilmember Nichol?
Yeah, I'm going to move to approve this, but I do have some questions. Constituents were asking, will the funding be used for new recruits to the police department, or are we going to be recruiting from other departments, or what type of officers are we anticipating we'll get with this funding?
So we do not have the funding confirmed yet. We applied, and this is simply the formality of ratifying the submittal of that application. We have 11 positions right now funded through the COPS office. When we do the recruitment and hire behind this, it is an open recruitment for both what we refer to as LET positions as well as regular lateral police officer positions. There's benefits to laterals, obviously, from a training cost standpoint and the time it takes to bring them on, but we're going to take any that we can get.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and that was the question constituents were asking is, obviously that getting new recruits trained, there's a time component involved, and a lot of people want to see us really step up, have sort of a surge of enforcement as soon as possible. So just so you know where they're coming from, that's what I've been hearing. But I approve of this. Thanks for bringing it forward. Thanks for your work on this, and looking forward to getting some new officers. Thank you.
And
Thank
just
you.
to kind of expand upon that, Chief, if you could just identify, I know you and I have talked about the number of new officers that we've been able to bring onto the department in the last couple of years, and I think we are seeing more laterals decide to come to San Bernardino.
We are finally seeing an increase in laterals now that we are, coming out of the financial difficulties that we've had. I think we are becoming a more attractive place to attract existing officers. We've had several this year from various departments in the area. In addition to that, we're graduating 4 trainees tomorrow out of the academy, tomorrow night. We have what will become the senior class, we have 11 trainees in that class. We're preparing to send another 4 or 5 to the academy class that'll start next month. And I don't have the exact count, but I believe we are processing a couple other laterals that are in background investigations as we speak.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? See none, please cast your votes.
On item 7, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Dickel, the second by Mr. Valdivia, and the item passed 7-0.
Thank you. Next is item number 8. Adopt a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino approving an annual purchase order to Clean Energy to supply LNG fuel and to perform maintenance and repairs to the LCNG plant. Councilman Nichol?
Yeah, I'll also move to approve this, but there were some questions regarding the number of CNG, LNG vehicles we have in the city. I know that was sort of a big thing years ago. I know a lot of cities are going more to hybrids. I'm sure some of our heavier
vehicles may still use CNG, LNG, but I was just curious, how many vehicles do we have in our fleet that currently use it? Is this something that we have 8 total vehicles? Now, is this CNG, LNG? It's CNG. Okay. Is this open to, are we making money with it at all, or?
The majority of our sales are outside sales.
Okay.
So we have almost $400,000 this year. We're probably going to have retail sales.
So is that a net cost or a net revenue source?
Well,
for
that's
the
the
city?
gross, and we net about 100,000. So it's about 25%.
Oh, so we're actually making some money off
Yeah,
this.
about
Okay.
25%.
I
And
support
and
it.
we are looking at that program because we think there may be some other opportunities in the future, but at this point, it is making a little bit of money. We still think there's some opportunity there to grow that
Okay.
program.
All right. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. We have any other questions? Thank you.
On item 8, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Nichol, the second by Ms. Marquez, and the item passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next item is item number 10, pulled by Councilmember Marquez. Adopt a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of San Bernardino authorizing the city manager to execute a food service agreement with the Center for Educational Leadership, Inland Child and Adult Nutrition Program for the delivery of fresh meals to select city community centers for the after-school supper meal program for the fiscal year 2017-18. Councilmember Marquez?
Thank you, Mayor. I fully support this item, but I did get a couple of calls, and they wanted to know how these 4 sites were identified and why others were not selected.
These sites that are identified are the community centers that have the ability to provide the service. Those are the only community centers that we have.
Like
that
kitchen
fit this.
facilities?
Yeah, with the kitchen
Okay.
facilities that fit the criteria of the public that we're serving in this particular.
Okay.
Program.
Is this the first year we are going to be working with ICANN?
No, I believe this is the second year. Cynthia, do you want to comment on that?
No, I believe we've been running this program with ICANN since about 2013.
Okay, and we've been successful every year?
Yes, we actually, every meal that is provided to us to serve to the community goes, so we don't end up with any leftovers.
Okay, I move to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Councilmember Valdivia?
Ms. Alvarado, you suggested that none goes to waste, so can you expand upon that? What does that mean? And what are the qualifications, and who is this distributed to? And if those aren't met, then you suggest that no food is wasted, is that right?
Right, so each center is given between 20 to 25 meals. The kids that come to the center to participate in the activities are the ones who benefit from those meals. Now, the criteria in order to meet that comes from the surrounding school area data. And so since a majority of our students in the San Bernardino School District meet the financial criteria for free meals, so they meet them with us at our centers as well.
So what happens if there's an overage of food then? You're saying, what happens to the food?
We don't have an overage of food.
I think it's because we have so many potential qualified participants that if for some reason a child that was planning to partake in the food that day decides not to, maybe they have other plans, they're required to go home, we have other qualified applicants that can step into those shoes. So we probably have, I would envision, and certainly Cynthia, we probably have more people who could benefit from this program than we have meals to be able to provide.
My concern is that there's some type of misguided direction here, that it ultimately turns into some buffet or smorgasbord of free food, and that's the apprehension that I might have when I have community centers and senior citizens trying to access their respective bingo game or community event, and somehow there's this barrage of other priorities. So is there an assurance that this is not, and we're compliant with the regulations?
So the kids that get served this meal are already participating in current programs at the center, whether it be homework club or some type of structured programming. It just gets built into that portion of the program that they're already participating in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Not, please cast your votes.
Thank you.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm having issues with my numbering. I'd like to take a voice vote at this point. Right. I
Yes.
have, the motion was made by Ms. Marquez, the second by Mr. Valdivia. And Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. Barrios?
Yes.
Mr. Valdivia? Mr. Charette?
Yes.
Mr. Nichol?
Yes.
Ms. Richard?
Yes.
And Mr. Mulvihill? Thank you. The item passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is item number 12, adopt a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of San Bernardino authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with Cal State University, San Bernardino, to pay fair share costs for traffic signals modifications at city-controlled intersections identified in 2016 master plan. Councilmember Nichol?
Yeah, well, I want to thank Cal State for putting together what I think is a very good study that I think anticipates some growth that is anticipated and that we welcome. But I do have some questions. Given that area of the city, not only do we expect growth in the campus area, but we expect new housing, new growth in terms of not only new residents, but new businesses, more jobs in that area. And so capacity is increasingly going to be a concern. It's a concern currently for a lot of the residents in that area. And depending on the time of day and when classes are either in session or getting out of session, there can be rather lengthy lines of traffic along University Parkway. We've had conversations in prior council meetings on Little Mountain. So there's spillover now. A lot of these students are using other city streets and arterials to get to and from the campus because it's growing. And that's a great thing. I'm glad to see that our campus is growing. And I really hope that as we move forward, we really create a university village community in that area where students can actually live there. But I did have some questions, and I did pull some reports. This is from the San Bernardino CTA, and this includes some data from SCAG just to put things into context. I did provide a handout to the members of the council, members of the dais, but I just wanted to go through a couple of these slides and then give an opportunity for some response and maybe have a bit of discussion before this is approved, which I anticipate it will be, regarding future partnerships on additional capital infrastructure investment. I think we're at a time where we anticipate there will be new investments in infrastructure throughout our country. And I think we as a city need to really understand how we can best capitalize on those opportunities given the anticipated growth that's expected over the upcoming years. This first slide shows anticipated development in the area in and around the university. It includes both residential, retail, other types of commercial growth, both single-family and multifamily growth. As you can see, the red areas are areas that are currently not developed but are anticipated to be developed. So this has one of the highest concentrations of developable land in our city currently. The next slide shows the growth forecast for that same area. Again, over the next 15 to 20 years, there's significant anticipated growth. We know statewide there's a shortage of housing, and certainly given some of the vacant land that we have in this area of the city, we need to anticipate that growth and ensure that we have capacity. The next slide shows several different indicators, but one of the most, I think, telling is the walk score of these areas. And you can see the area in and around Cal State campus has the lowest walk score, which means it's very car dependent, which means as we move forward, we need to think about alternatives and how we get those students increasingly to think about either living on campus or being part of that immediate surrounding community. Also, the emissions. The gray areas indicate higher greenhouse emissions because there is so much automobile usage in that area. The next slide comes from UC Berkeley. This is a system that includes all of the database of all the traffic collisions, accidents in that area. And you can see the University Parkway has the highest instances of collisions in that overall area. And that is of continued concern, not just to me, but to the residents of that area. We've seen some very, very nasty collisions and accidents. We've had pedestrians, bicyclists struck. So we really need to think, not just in terms of, and I completely support improvements in signalization and turn lanes, but I think we really need to start thinking bigger in how we can partner together to mitigate some of these. Finally, the last couple slides here, there's the congestion management plan intersections. What really caught my attention here is that none of the intersections in and around the university, except for 40th and Kendall, are part of the overall CMP monitoring. I personally would like to see some investment on the part of Sandbag to improve monitoring, especially at the Kendall and University intersections. I certainly believe the data that we have, but I'm constantly being asked, do we monitor those intersections where I'm constantly getting complaints? And according to this data from Sandbag, the answer is no. So I think I would like to have a conversation through our representative on Sandbag to see what we can do to improve monitoring in not just that area, but the area where we anticipate additional future growth to make sure that we're mitigating those traffic demands. The next page actually shows the current projects that are slated, improvement projects, capital improvement projects. We have one that is currently funded and underway at University in 215, indicated by the red dot. But you'll see there's a green dot north of the red dot. That is a project that has been sitting dormant for quite a few years. That is the Campus Parkway Interchange Project. Land was actually purchased and set aside for a potential future interchange or freeway on-ramp, off-ramp for Campus Parkway. And my understanding is, given some of the traffic congestions, that would be a relief valve, hopefully in the future. And I think now is the time for us to start thinking about how we plan for that, how we can begin the process of setting aside some of the funding we need so that we can mitigate those future traffic demands. This is just a brief description from Sandbag's website of that project. As you can see, nothing has occurred on that Campus Parkway interchange project really to date. It is part of the transportation overall plan, but it is currently not funded. Finally, and I want to thank my colleague, Councilman Mulvihill, for the work he's doing as our representative to SCAG. I strongly support active transportation alternatives, including bicycles, pedestrian routes, and so forth in that area. What this final map shows is both the existing and the proposed routes. I also have brought to the attention in prior meetings, years ago there was a robust discussion in the city about a trails master plan for that area. That would include alternatives specifically for pedestrians, for bicyclists, even equestrians. And I think that is something that I think we can partner on. And I think all this does is this contributes hopefully to an overall vision of a university district in our city, one that's vibrant, where people can live and work and play and stay. And so my hope is that after tonight's approval, that we can continue this discussion in partnership, working together. We've had discussions about how we develop a more robust lobbying presence, both at the state and the federal level. And I think this is a perfect example of what we can do together in partnership to really achieve a shared vision, to really optimize the overall future development of that area and really bring quality of life to the residents, to the students, to the people that will ultimately make this their home. So I want to move for approval tonight and certainly give you an opportunity now to respond to any of the comments I made and certainly to this plan that you've presented, and thank you for the good work you've done on this.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Mulvihill?
And I would also like to introduce the representative of Cal State San Bernardino, the Director of Campus Planning and Policymaking, Amit Ashad. And you could probably take the other, because you're the other half of this partnership.
If you'd please turn on your mic.
Thank you very much for your support and for the nice comments. This master plan, we have been working for this campus master plan for 2 years. And we had a representative from city, from community members, we had a steering committee from all community members and campus departments and administrations, students and faculty. So we went through 2 years of continuous meetings and discussions. So this master plan is outcome of all the discussions. So all those comments you made has been considered, and we talked about it. And yes, it is kind of, as we had said in the past, our campus is kind of a small city within a city. So we depend on each other, and success of the university, success of the city. So we appreciate all cities' input on this master plan. And we have, as our president's vision, that we will have 5,000 beds on campus. We have a student housing one after another building on our campus. So we try to reduce congestion throughout the city. So this measure that we are having this, so it is a fair share cost that our Board of Trustees and our Chancellor Office is contributing towards the development of the signals and improvement on the city, because in the past, the universities did grow and no contribution, but now we contribute, and we do this in the support of the collaboration with each other.
And I appreciate his comment. You know, in the past, there has been growth. I think this is an opportunity for us to recognize the vision that they have for their campus and to begin to participate. Now that we have a good understanding of what they anticipate their growth being, what projections they have and where they want to see their growth occur, I think it gives us a better chance to work with them to identify what those, previously we didn't do a good job of that, but to then begin to understand what those off-site impacts are going to be, plan for them, and certainly they have agreed to contribute a lot of funding. I can see them continuing to do that as they recognize the demand that they are placing on our streets and roads. There's another really kind of exciting thing that Councilmember Mulvihill raised. SCAG does have a planning grant that's available now. We did apply for that in cooperation with the Cal State San Bernardino campus to get funding to allow us to develop a bicycle master plan, a pedestrian master plan, really encourage the use of alternative modes of transportation. They also requested funding under the same grant, and we see those two plans being done in cooperation. And then ultimately, it sets the stage for linkages with the Trails Master Plan. We recognize that that's something that was done several years ago, but it's time to revisit that and actually have it adopted by this council. But it begins to then position us to finish that master plan by requesting grant funding from probably the Rivers and Mountains groups, but other types of funding sources. So again, there are partnerships that are existing here, and I think having this master plan in place is really kind of the natural progression of continued efforts to work with one another.
Yeah. And also we are working as a team on 215 and the diversion diamond on the improvement of the freeway. So that is part of our collaboration. We are working together, and it's coming right now. There's the study and the design has started on that because we have funding for that project.
And we are very fortunate. Mahmoud is a traffic engineer. He joined the Public Works team some time ago now. Excellent public traffic engineer.
Yes.
I think it's helpful to Cal State to have someone on our side of the equation that really understands engineering work and how traffic flows and moves and what the different improvements we can make to affect the congestion that we're seeing on our streets. So we have talked internally, we want to have a much more robust program that includes some public participation as we do these studies, so the community understands how these studies are conducted, they can have public input into that process, and then, again, understand that we are guided by certain guidelines and warrants through the Department of Transportation. But again, I think we can start to affect change by having a much more public process as we look at our traffic signals and traffic flow.
Councilman Charette.
I just want to make one comment, and that is that this is obviously good work, but I wanted to tell, and I think maybe some of my other colleagues might have received a phone call from the president as well, from Thomas Morales, and he wanted to make it very clear, and so I want to repeat publicly, he couldn't be here tonight, and he wished he could, was glad to have you in his place, but he wanted to make it clear that he, as the president of the college, is striving very hard to be a good partner with the community and with the city. So we need good partners, and of course the school districts, the college districts, and others, other agencies. It's very important that we all work together for the good of the community and all share the vision to move this city forward and bring it up to what you call it a world-class city, which I believe it can be, and I'm committed to that as well. So thank you, and thank staff, and thank the college for all their support on this.
Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a question for this gentleman. I know that the next step for this master plan is to be approved by the California State University Board of Trustees. When is this taking place?
It is September 22nd.
So this meeting is very timely then?
Right.
And I'm hoping it's unanimous because I'm a Cal State graduate, class of 79. And, it's really grown quite a bit. When I was a student there, we had about 1,500. Now we're, at 20,000? And I'm very proud to have graduated from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? We do appreciate your coming forward to express the partnership that we're building with Cal State. We do appreciate the benefit that it is to our community, and we're happy to be able to join in the shared cost of this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second. We could
Yes.
please
On
cast your
item-
votes.
I'm sorry. On item 12, the motion to approve was made by Mr. Nickel, the second by Mr. Valdivia, and the item passed 7-0.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our consent calendar items, and that takes us through item number 14. Item number 15 was pulled by the city attorney's office, so we will now go to public comments on items not on the agenda. Councilman Charette.
I'm kind of going out of order again. There was something in my earlier presentation to Bob Longton that I wanted to ask, and I wanted to ask, we've closed meetings in honor of those that have passed. I'd like to close this meeting in honor of somebody that's 100 years old in our city, so if we could do that, I'd appreciate that.
Be happy to.
Thank you.
Carmel Rowe.
So I guess this 3 minutes I get to talk about whatever I want. So what I'd like to talk about is, once again, that I'm a 40-year resident of the city of San Bernardino, a business owner. I spend 365 days a year in this city, and I don't work outside the city. I work in this city. And I drive around the streets of this city all day, every day. And my car needs struts and an alignment, and I got to go through tires every other month because of the potholes. Okay, so that's my first complaint. My second complaint is that I'm also a member of the Women's Club of the city of San Bernardino, and they're a 115-year organization. And we have homeless people sleeping on our lawn every single day. They steal our electricity. They steal our water. Our neighbors are now complaining against us like we're bad tenants, okay? We have PD come, and they've been actually very helpful to us, okay? But the homeless situation has now jeopardized 90-year-old women that have to fend for their self or be accosted by homeless people. And Mr. Movihill, that is your ward. I have advised all those women to contact you. Okay, I have told them to write letters. I gave them Ms. Miller, I gave them your phone number, okay? And I told them to contact you because we need some help over there. I mean, we've now had to hire a security guard to patrol our property, okay? And we are a nonprofit organization that gives back to this community. These old ladies, they move desks, okay? They move tables. They move earth, wind, and fire to provide for children and backpacks and food and Ronald McDonald, okay? So the fact that we can't get some help when we call, okay, or we can't get this problem taken care of. I mean, the neighbors are mad, okay, and we have done everything. We have lighting, you know, but it's this city. It's this city's problem, and it leads me just to say that it's a mismanagement of the city block grant funds. We have plenty of money to take care of this problem, okay. I have a letter that I received after I pulled a Public Records Act the last time I was here. And that HUD money that we just gave away to attract more homeless and more mentally challenged individuals, it's not really going to help them because you can't make them stay. But we are displacing families that pay their rent and not treating them right. But we have a letter, and it's to Mark Scott, and it was dated on June 9th of 2017, saying, hey, you have until August to spend this money. If we had June, July, and August, we had time to come up with a better plan. We had time to find something else. We had time to build a better community. Me, I don't want to live in a house anymore. I don't want to mow my yard. I don't want to take my trash cans out. But there's not a nice enough apartment complex in this whole entire city for me to move into. And you know what? People like me, people, working people, community people, we need to be able to live somewhere. So why don't we design something made for people like me? Because once we get rid of once we get those Cal State people out, where are they going to live? Where are they going to live? How are we going to keep them here?
Expired. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roxanne Williams.
To the mayor, city council, staff, and members of the audience, the purpose of me speaking today is to discuss a few issues on customer service. Namely, there are 3 items. Number 1, Gigi Hanna, the city clerk's response to the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission handbook. Number 2, the lack of a response from the city regarding the naming of the Delman Heights Community Center after John Griffin. Number 3, the Van Neer Tower centralized reception area for most departments. First, the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission, on which I had served for more than 3 years, recently put together a comprehensive commissioner handbook. This was in direct response for the need of the commissioners to be onboarded, the lack of procedures on the commission to establish goals and a purpose, and to build leadership capacity. The handbook not only outlined the mission and the vision of the commission, but it gave the latest information on the Brown Act, Robert's Rules of Order. It had a code of conduct, park ordinances, the do's and don'ts, the department's organizational structure, parks, open spaces, other parks, community centers, senior centers, and swimming pools by ward. It also included the department programs for sports, recreation, and community service. It included essential budget and finance vocabulary, templates on how to set up calendars and agendas, and an action registry to keep track of motions to be followed upon. It also included procedures for park cleanups, naming a commission chair, planning events, etc. The Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission spent more than 1 year working on this document, including Saturdays and meetings outside of the commission monthly meetings. So it was puzzling to receive a callous and flippant reply from Gigi Hanna, the city clerk, stating that the document was, quote, not up to date and inaccurate and could not be used. What? Really? Our comprehensive 100-page handbook was accurate and up to date, except for one section that mentioned the old charter. That section simply could have been excised. However, you, Gigi Hanna, made a unilateral decision to ignore the will of the commission, usurping the power of a commission and the voice of the people. Rather than being reasonable and sitting down with our commission, you threw the baby out with the bathwater. Our cities have handbooks. Other cities have handbooks, and so should we. We're not out of date. You are. Had the city clerk's office done its job of compiling a handbook, we would not have had to have done this. We waited and waited and waited for a training. In my more than 3 years in the commission, there was only one training for commissioners on the Brown Act. That's it. Yet and still, there was a constant turnover and resignations
Ms.
from
Williams,
the
time's
commission.
expired. Please wrap it up.
I need one more minute, please. Necessitating a handbook to train the commissioners.
Council,
The city clerk also mentioned
Ms. Williams, your
that
time's
she
expired.
would not, you give time to other people who go over 3 minutes. I don't come here very regularly. And I think what I have to say is very important. I asked for one more minute.
Please wrap it up.
Okay. The city clerk also mentioned that we should wait until the new charter has been finalized and that it would be too hasty to make a handbook now. I completely disagree. Other cities have handbooks. One could be put together and later amended. Waiting and waiting does nothing more than leave commissioners without guidance and training. The second issue on
Ms.
customer
Roxanne,
service.
please
So
wrap
the
it up.
second thing I want to discuss is continuing to name the Delman Heights Community Service after John Griffin. And the last
You'll-
thing, to make
you'll
sure
have
that
to
we
come
have
back.
better customer service at Vanier Towers. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert Porter?
Mayor, council, good people. You see why I would never be on a commission for San Bernardino? I love San Bernardino with all my heart. I'd do anything. I'd show up to every single meeting. I'd never be a commissioner for Mr. Mulvihill. You'd never let me. He'd find somebody else that was on the other team and hire them just so he couldn't have to hire me. And why should we be on commissioners? Why should we be a commissioner if you're not even listening to them? Come on. There's a reason we have these. It's because you all have special abilities, but you're not experts in everything. So why we have commissions is to have expert opinions, and you're supposed to listen to them and take them into consideration because they're important. These are the people in our community, and they're put in those positions. You give them awards and pins and all kinds of things and shower them, but you don't listen to them? Now, you guys know about the Historical Preservation Commission, I'm sure. How often have they met this year? What did they talk about? Anybody? What did they talk about? Anybody? Thank you very much.
Brenda Faulkner?
Hi, my name's Brenda. I'm back again to see about the property that I came to you guys last year about, of using or leasing from you guys, since you guys leased it from Union Pacific. Now, last year I brought to your attention, there was a lady who used it and forged one of your council members' names. And, I'm coming to you guys wanting the permission to either use the property, giving you a percentage of what I make off the property for the next 3 raves that we have out there are the big ones, and that there's good money to be made. Whether with the percentage for you guys and for what I would bring in for me and my daughter. Otherwise, the person's, people are gonna be out there again using the property. Again, without, at least I'm coming and trying to get it legally. I do have a business license for the parking. I do have other lots that I use. I used to use my daughter's school until the school board shut that down because it's a federal school. So that's, I don't know what's going on there. But I'm coming again to find out if there's any way, because you guys say it's because it's unimproved service. Well, I've got a picture on my phone of where the city parks trailers and trucks that have been parked there for 5 years on unimproved surfaces. So how can the city do it and we can't do it, is where I'm really lost. So I'm just coming to ask you if there's a chance. There's only 8 maybe events that I do the parking for out of the whole year. This is my question. I'm just wanting.
That would be something to put forward to the city manager.
Okay, well, Mr. Scott didn't, when he was, okay.
Again, I can certainly speak to her and see if there's something that we can do, and I will look into, we need to abide by the city codes too. So if we have
Yeah.
vehicles parked on unpaved surfaces, then let me correct that, because we need to demonstrate and uphold the law, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Taylor Jean?
Hi, my name's Taylor. I go to a charter school, and every year since kindergarten, they have taught me to do a community service project. And I'm an 8th grader this year. It's my last year at that school. It's the only school I've ever been to. I wanted to step it up a lot. And I've lived in San Bernardino my whole life. Born and raised, obviously I'm not that old, but it's still a big thing, to me at least. The biggest problem I see in San Bernardino, and obviously I'm not the only person, is homeless people. If you go out anywhere outside, you can't come out of the gas station, you can't come out of the grocery store, go to a park, because they're there, and you don't want to get hassled for money or anything. That's the biggest problem, and if you go down the 91 South, you see a bunch of tents. It's what I would call Tent City, and I would like to see something similar to that here in San Bernardino, because of the fact if you get them all together, it's going to be a lot easier to police them. If we get dumpsters and porta potties, they can keep themselves clean. It's going to be easier to police them, to make them keep themselves clean. And if they're all in one spot, then we can get all our recycling centers in front of grocery stores and stuff back, because that all got taken away because of them stealing each other's recyclables and things like that. It's not that great of a thing to see. Like, if it's bothering adults, it's obviously bothering children too. You know it's a big problem when a 13-year-old girl comes up here to see you guys and see if she can help the city out about something. And obviously it's a universal problem. It's not just one or two people every day. It's millions, it's thousands. It's not just San Bernardino either. So I don't want to act like it is. But we can be the city that starts the change, and other cities can catch on and be like, oh, where'd that come from? That's interesting. Let's try that. Because for those people that are homeless and it's not their fault, say they got divorced, got kicked out of their house, something, they have a place to keep themselves clean, and then they can go on from there and get a job and turn themselves around. They can do certain things. Yeah, there are some people that are homeless and they just don't want to do anything about it. But if you do keep them all together, it's going to help them keep clean. And I have a few places, if one of you guys want to talk to me afterwards, where I think it'd be a good idea to put these places for them to stay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra Ibarra?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, Chief Burguan. Thank you for being out here, audience. I do live in the city, by the way, and I work in the city. I have pride in the city. So with that said, I will go off and start with my first topic. City Manager, you were aware by HUD back in June about the extra money they found. $880,000 were given to HP1. I had concerns about their legality. I didn't find the proper documentation in the packet. However, that money was given to an agency who's going to pay us back within, 52, 57 years? I wish my mortgage was that long. I'm at 30-year fixed at 4%. They got a good deal, 3%. So I went to the property. There's still 9 families living there. We're talking children, moms, dads. They work. They're low income, living paycheck to paycheck. 2-bedroom units at that apartment complex. And the plan from the Housing Authority is to downsize to 1-bedroom units to house Section 8s. Of those 9 families, only 5 may get some monetary compensation. And it's not comparable to what they're paying right now for the space of where they live in right now. Perfect example, one of the tenants informed me that their apartments are 1,100 square feet, 2 bedrooms. They searched around the whole city. 2-bedroom units at 1,100 square feet go for $1,350 a month. However, the housing authority decided to give them the difference of what it would be to rent a 1-bedroom apartment. How does a family of 4 or even 6 live comfortable in a 1-bedroom apartment? The county has, well, I don't know what the new agreement will be. A lot of those tenants did not want to come out here for fear of retaliation from the county. They don't want me to say their names. But I do want you guys to let you guys know that there are families still living there, and they don't know where they're going to move to. So when you, Ms. Seen, you said you were going to keep your word to the county, that's awesome, but how about our council keep their word to the community they're here to serve? So one idea, and maybe we can do it for future HUD money, is creating small houses. If we're going to house veterans, homeless, give them a little home. They don't go for more than $20,000. Within a year, they pay it off. They can give back to the community. That's just an idea, but just want to let you guys know that they're only going to get approximately $150 from the county each of those 5 families only. The other 4 don't qualify for that money. Thank you.
Thank you. Dolores Cedillo?
Hello, I've been a resident here since 2000. This is my second civic meeting, the first meeting.
Could you raise the podium a little bit?
With this? Okay.
Thank
This
you.
is all new for me, so. Again, been here since 2000. I'm originally from Barstow, and this is my second civic meeting. The first meeting was with that homeless deal a couple weeks ago, where I met you after the meeting. And I was approaching you. I'm originally from Barstow, and I was on the Route 66 advisory board that we had last year. I can't remember now. And I've been involved with Route 66 since 2000 in Barstow, which is my hometown. I've only lived there and here. And I was pretty much the town crier for Barstow for Route 66. And they did minimal stuff. And I even had a redevelopment plan for Barstow, which I gave to Melina Perez, which I hope everybody on the panel would see. And I have a plan for East Street that would be a Route 66 Americana attraction. I actually got Route 66 Americana re-registered to present to you guys. I also got SB Vision registered today.org, okay? And if you listen to me, and if you want a recommendation, talk to Mike Massimini. He's known me since 2000. Barstow has made one bad decision after another, trying to get jobs and so forth, and Route 66 was their way out, and they didn't go with it. In San Bernardino, I'm saying Route 66 is your way out to do a Route 66 theme Americana on East Street. And like I said, I got a redevelopment plan for Barstow so you could take a look at to see what I've done. Okay, I'm starting up my own gene line in January. And I said, I'm not a good public speaker here. I'm a very nervous guy. This is not my forte. But I would like to take you out on the Saturday and show you everything that I see in this town to transform this place into a Route 66 Americana attraction. And that's pretty much what I have to say right now. If anybody got any questions or would like to follow up, I'm willing to speak to anyone. So.
Our Chamber of Commerce does put forward a Route 66, and I think it will be on October the 6th or 7th?
7th.
October the 7th.
But I'm talking about a Route 66 attraction development. We have restaurants, and you have a bowling alley, and I'm talking about a whole attraction like a miniature Disneyland here, where you have authentic architecture, okay? I present, like, for example, there used to be a place called Pix on Santa Monica, AKA Route 66. That's something that could be redeveloped. Totally authentic architecture. It could be in front of the mall, just things to start getting things rolling here in town, that you could create steps to get to this idea I have.
Thank you. Mr. Cedillo, your time has expired. Thank you. Barbara Babcock?
Good evening, Barbara Babcock, Ward 7, and Vice Chair of the San Bernardino Fine Arts Commission. I want to give a shout out to somebody who's sitting back here, Hector Contreras. Hector, raise your hand. Last night at KVCR PBS, we had an amazing kickoff event. KVCR was about to go under, and they have revamped themselves, and there is a new group in town called Musicology, and it's with Hector and with Manal Iskander and Nick Contreras, Nick Carney, and they have been signed for 13 episodes. It's going nationwide, and we're going to see some amazing groups come out of that. And PBS, in fact, wanted to buy them out, and they said no. I want to tell you now about an event coming up a week from Saturday, and each one of you should have one of these at your places. I put one there. The San Bernardino Pastors United, and if you don't have them, I will get more for you. Pastors United came together shortly after December 2, 2015, and they said, we need to do more for our community. So this is a block party that's going to be held on Saturday, 16th in Basine. It's Ward. It's going to be at Ann Sherrill's Park from 2 to 5 p.m. It is free. They give away a lot of good stuff. They give away free food, free groceries, free clothing, a lot of housing and resources, though, for finding jobs, that type of thing. Gospel music, but the main thing that they give is love. You will really feel that you are cared for when you go to that. The mayor came and spoke at our last one just minutes after someone was shot, just blocks from our last one over at San Bernardino High School. So I really encourage you to let people know about this, and it's not just for people in that ward, but we really want to let the people know that the churches have come together and worked together, and we thank you for all that you're doing. And Andrea Travis Miller, we are so glad to have you here back at the helm. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any items from council members that you'd like to defer to any council committees? Now, do we have announcements from, starting with Councilmember Marquez?
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a few. The Mexican Consulate is inviting the public to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. There will be an art exhibit opening scheduled for Thursday, September 7th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Mexican Consulate located at 293 North D Street. For additional information, please call Tammy Garcia Chang, Community Affairs Coordinator for the Consulate at 909 area code 889-7846. The Guatemalan Consulate invites the public to participate in their 2017 Independence Festival on Saturday, September 9th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. There will be food, music, children's activities, raffles, and much more, all in commemoration of Guatemala's 196th anniversary. This great event will be taking place at 330 North D Street, Suite 120. For additional information, you can call the consulate at 909-572-8800. And finally, the San Bernardino Business and Community Organization meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 12th at 10 a.m. This meeting is taking place at the Arrowhead Event Center located at 180 South Arrowhead Avenue. Please come and join us for a morning of conversation regarding our city's quality of life with Lieutenant Rich Lawhead and myself. If you have any questions, please call me at 909-384-5188. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Barrios?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind everybody that Friday, September 8th, is San Bernardino Day at the LA County Fair, and there are passes that you can get for and enter for $8, or go online and register for them. There's going to be some of us there in their parade from 3 to 5. Just wanted to mention that if anybody wants to go out there. They have a day set up for San Bernardino. On Saturday, September 9th from 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., Young Women's Empowerment Foundation 5th Annual Free Wellness Conference is going to be held at the San Bernardino Community Hospital at Henderson Auditorium, 1800 Western Avenue. For more information on that, contact 951-203-0744. On Saturday, September 16th, before the block party, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., There's going to be an emergency preparedness fair hosted by Blair Park and the Muscoviabi Neighborhood Association at Davidson Elementary School, located at 2844 Davidson Avenue. Contact Joyce Seeger at 909-882-1372 or Lynn Ware at 951-237-3016. On Friday, September 2nd at 11 a.m., Time for Change has a new location. It's located at 2164 Mount View Avenue, and they're having a grand opening that day. For more information, you can call 909-886-2994. And Saturday, September 23rd at 6 p.m. There will be the annual Miss Cardinal pageant from 2017-2018 at Sturgis Theater for the Fine Arts at 780 North East Street. It's a great event that's hosted by Jamie Rios every year. For more information, contact him at 909-881-8217. Wednesday, September 27th at 9 a.m., our San Bernardino Southwest District Coffee with the Cop has a new location. It's going to be at Jack in the Box at 1141 West Highland Avenue, just a few blocks away. For more information, contact Aileen Hartz at 909-384-5694. And last thing I want to mention is that from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, September 28th, Olive Meadow at Arrowhead Grove is going to have their grand opening. They're part of the new development that's happening that's replacing the Waterman Gardens, and look forward to seeing everybody there. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Barrios. Councilman Valdivia?
None today, sir.
Councilman Schreck?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I have a couple. The first one is the Wednesday, September 13th, Coffee with the Cop, 9 a.m. at Denny's Restaurant, 702 East Highland Avenue, corner of Valencia and Highland Avenue. Always a really good group. Eileen Hards is the person to contact if you have questions, 384-5694. Again, that's Wednesday, September 13th at 9 a.m. I won't be attending, so I'm going to leave it in your capable hands, Jim, as I'll be in Sacramento at League of Cities Conference. Then on Thursday, September 14th, I also won't be able to make this one, but this is the Wildwood Park Neighborhood Association meeting. Ice Cream Social at the Lutheran Church of Our Savior, 5050 North Sierra Way, 49th and Leroy. Contact Tony Marzullo for further information at 909-883-1315. Again, this is a really good group, I think one of the biggest neighborhood groups in our city, and that's at 7 p.m. At least it shows 7. I think they start usually at 6:30 for ice cream, but maybe because this is their ice cream social, they're starting at 7. That's what it says here, 6:30 or 7 at Lutheran Church of Our Savior. And then on Thursday, September 21st, the Dr. Nag meeting, the neighborhood group, Native Sons of the Golden West at 2701 Del Rosa Avenue. That's the corner of Del Rosa and Date Place. Contact Claudia Oakes at 909-882-3033 for further information. And I believe that does it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Nichol?
The Verdamont Neighborhood Association will meet at the Western Region Little League on Tuesday, September 12th at 6:30 p.m. The special guest speaker will be Nick Cataldo of the San Bernardino Historic Preservation Society, and we'll be talking about San Bernardino history. Any questions, please contact Barbara Sky at 909-888-9880. Again, that'll be Tuesday, September 12th at 6:30 p.m. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't embarrass my colleague, Miss Richard. Happy birthday to you, and best wishes. I know that yesterday was your birthday, so if we may all Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Basim. Happy birthday to you. That is all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Richard.
Jeez, I turned so old, I don't know if I'm going to remember these announcements. Wow. Thank you guys for that. Let's see here. I'm trying to recoup here. I know, huh?
Takes your breath away.
Not quite, but close. You guys didn't sound that good. But I'm just kidding. The 2017 Black Rose Humanitarian and Community Service Award will be held on Friday, September the 8th at the National Orange Show Event Center at 689 Southeast Street. Contact 909-888-1696 for tickets. On Monday, September the 11th, the Northwest PAC meeting will be held at the New Hope Family Life Center, 1505 West Highland Avenue at 6:30 p.m. Thank you, Barrios, for taking over some of my announcements. On Wednesday, September the 13th, Terrace West North Neighborhood Association meeting will be held at the VFW, Post 8737, 2018 Foothill Boulevard. Contact Charlie Jacobs at 909-889-0181. And as was already mentioned earlier, the community block party at the Ansharell Park on September the 15th at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. Also, I wanted to mention in the 6th Ward, we have a big problem with illegal dumping. And I want to talk to the residents about taking pride in our community and taking pride in our West Side. I want to give great thanks to the Public Works Department because they respond when I call, and they're running around in circles picking up, and 2 days later, there's more furniture at the same spot. And I ask that you guys please not do that. San Bernardino will be having a dump day at the end of this month. It's not in the 6th Ward, but you can definitely, with proof that you live in San Bernardino, take your dumping to that site. You know, they're working tirelessly, picking up trash and picking up illegal dumping around town, especially by Arroyo Valley High School. Every single week, you come back on Monday and there's another pile of furniture and all sorts of things. And I just ask you guys in the community to please take pride and to just try to dispose of your dumping or your illegal dumping in a proper manner. And again, the dump day will be held on September the 30th at Wildwood Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Mr. May, if I
Yes.
could just add, great public service announcement, and thank you for doing that. In addition to that, all of our residents, as part of our trash service with Burtec, do have bulky item pickup. I think it's a couple of times a year at no additional charge. It's on your regular trash day. So we have the dump days. We also have the availability to have it picked up from your home, and we do encourage people not to dump. We're trying to get things picked up as quickly as possible, but it would help if we eliminated some of the illegal dumping that we're seeing throughout the community. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilmember Richard. Councilman Mulvihill.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one announcement. Seems to be a lot of things are taking place on September 16th. But the earliest one, from 7 until 12 noontime at Spiker Park, the revitalization is going to be taking place. Spiker Park, 1535 North Arden at Pacific Avenue. For more information, please, looking for volunteers. If you wish to volunteer or find out more about this, please call our Parks and Recreation Department at 384-5233. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'd also like to announce that this morning at 7 a.m. at the corner of Highland Avenue and Sierra Way, Rio Markets had their ribbon cutting. They've opened a new store there. They have 2 stores in the city of San Bernardino. They've done a great job of cleaning that store up. It looks really good inside. And so I want to announce their opening, their ribbon cutting this morning at 7 a.m. City Attorney, do you have anything? No, I don't. City Clerk? City Manager?
No, sir.
All right. Respecting the request of Councilman Charette, this meeting will be adjourned in celebration of Mr. Bob Logston's 100th birthday. On behalf of the city of San Bernardino, we thank you for your dedication and commitment to of service to our nation and to our community. And we celebrate your 100th birthday and wish you continued happiness. This meeting is adjourned until Wednesday, September the 20th, 2017. Thank you. Drive safely.